Mallika Sudhir and I've secured rank 26 in Civil Services Examination 2016, and this was my fourth attempt, and in my previous attempts I was unable to pass through the prelims, and this is the first time that I've written mains and I've been able to qualify this exam. I have done my masters in history, so and history was my optional also. And today I would like to share with you what were the mistakes that I have committed in my previous attempts, and I think by my assessment what the mistakes that I made in my previous attempts were that I was unable to consolidate all that I had read, because I had referred to a lot of sources and I could not consolidate them. So this time what I did was that I made brief notes on all that I had read, and those notes were made from the perspective of prelims, because prelims has a very different kind of a testing method, because it is more objective, and the kind of knowledge that the Public Service Commission is looking for is entirely different from that of the mains. Along with that, this time also I wrote a lot of tests which I had not done earlier, because I took my tests lightly in my previous attempts. But this time I made sure that I did not miss a single test, and also I did a lot of tests at home, and I also made sure that the tests were done in the time that was stipulated, and also I kept in mind the fact that I would be writing the exam in at a particular time, as in from 9:30 in the morning to 12:30, and I made sure that the tests that I wrote were written during the same time, because that is how our brain works, and I thought that that was a better thing to do, because if one was able to solve those tests in that time at home, and after that if one could replicate that kind of a performance in the prelims, the actual prelims, that would be very good. So this is what I did. Along with that, I also revised repeatedly. So that was where I was lacking in my previous attempts. I did not revise. And also I would like to emphasize on the importance of prelims, because prelims is one of the most important stages. That is the stage where the maximum competition lies, because about 5 to 6 lakh candidates write the exam at the prelim stage, and only after one is able to pass through the prelims can one write the mains. So just I kind of had a laid back attitude in my previous attempts, that I will be able to do this exam, I will be able to get through this, because I have been able to get through all those university exams. But this exam is fundamentally very different from the university exams, because university exams are like, if you study less, even then you can get a good rank. If you study overnight, you can get a good score, a good percentage. But for this exam, one cannot study overnight and write the exam, be it prelims or the mains. One cannot do overnight study and suddenly do some magic. That will not happen. So what is required was that one puts in a consistent hard work. I think that was where I lagged in previous attempts. And along with that, when it comes to mains, I think test very important, because test writing helped me to think of the structure of an answer, which is very much required in the exam, and also practicing writing for 3 hours continuously. That is the main thing for this exam. You have to write for 3 hours, and that is a big challenge, and finishing a question in about 7 to 8 maximum 9 minutes itself is a very challenging thing. So for that I think what one requires is consistent practice, and this is what helped me, because I wrote a lot of test series, and the feedback that I got from the test series also helped me improve my content also, and expression, which is required for the mains exam. And again I would like to say that even for mains, consolidating what all one has studied is the big thing. So what I did was that I since one knew what was happening around, what were the current affairs, so I predicted kind of, you know, I kind of started predicting the questions, the topics that can be asked in the exam, and then I prepared brief notes on it, like 6 points, 7 points on that topic. So that helped me consolidate and revise the topic at the very last moment, because mains is a very challenging stage of the exam, because for one entire week you will be writing the exams, one in the morning, another in afternoon, and for GS after the 3 days continuously there is one is supposed to write without any break. So for that what was required was that for the last minute I need not refer to the book. So I had prepared these basic notes and I just went through those, because after, it is such a tiring process that after coming from the exam hall, having written your GS1 and GS2, one is so tired that one does not feel like going home and studying. So the next day one wakes up and goes again for the exam. So it was important to focus on these basic briefs that one had prepared for this. Along with that, I think the most important thing that most of us miss in this exam is that this exam is not just about what all you have read or what all you have, the kind of information that one has gathered in the study throughout that studying process. What is required is that one does not think negatively about oneself, you know, that mujhse ho payega ki nahi ho payega. The fact is that you are the one that's going to make it, right? And the day you make it, you'll feel like, are ye mujhse aise ho gaya? Because if one tends to think negatively, that kinds of you know, demotivates one and kind of affects that one's performance. And I think in my previous attempts, that was one thing that pushed me down, because I had this feeling that will I be able to do it, and as the number of attempts increase, the kind of pressure that is there on a person increases, because you know, everybody, your relatives know that you are writing this exam, it is UPSC, so you are like, inko pata hai, unko pata hai, ab mera kya hoga? So one has to make an effort to come out of it, right? And there are moments in this exam when you are like, ye ab nahi hoga. After having you know, not been able to clear the preliminary test, I was like, maybe this is not made for me, I am not made for this, I should not do this, maybe I am made for something else, right? So I thought that I should leave this, but then there was a feeling that since one has a dream of you know, I have chosen foreign services, somebody else may have a dream of becoming an IAS officer for various reasons. So there is this feeling that no, I should at least give it another try, one should give it another try. And when one is doing that, it is very important that you put in your 100%, not just your the physical being, your physical, you know, sitting rigorously for studying and doing hours of constant study. What is equally important is putting your head and heart both in this preparation, because if there is, if your heart does not lie here, you will not be able to sustain. If your head does not help you in this, obviously one will not be able to do it. So that is where the problem is, because most of us are stuck in that negative thinking mode. Even I had this, and for this attempt, it was a big challenge for me to continuously motivate myself and think that no, I am going to do this, and I am the one who is going to do this, and I can do this. So this kind of a thinking is very much required for this exam. This is what I felt over the course of preparation. I started preparing long back. So over the years I felt that that I should think positive. Unless I am thinking positive, I will not be able to do it. And as there are people who say that you speak things into the universe. I am at the risk of sounding too philosophical, but I do believe that you do speak things into the universe. If you are speaking negative things about yourself into the universe, negative will happen. And if you think positive and speak positive about yourself to the universe, everything positive will certainly happen. So this is what is required, and I think what is all the more required for this exam is that one cannot solely rely on certain materials and think that one will be able to crack this exam, right. So what is required is that one reads the basic books and revises them again and again. Along with that, what is the most fundamental is that one needs to follow a routine. One cannot be in the habit of waking up at 10 in the morning, sleeping at 2 in the night, that I will study during the day, but this exam does not take place during the night, right. One is supposed to write the exam during the day, so one must be in the habit of sitting for 2 hours for the prelims and 3 hours for the mains during the day. It should not be that you have the habit of studying during the night and during the day you are asleep. So that is how your body clock will work. So this is one thing I feel is very important, and I made sure that my routine was a little more regimented this time than in my previous attempts. Along with that, I think what is all the more important is that one should stay away from distractions. Staying away from distractions as in internet certainly has helped us a lot, but the fact is that there are a lot of distractions along with it, right. WhatsApping continuously, Facebook and all, they do serve as distractions even though they help us a lot, right. So one needs to certainly stay away from distractions and focus solely on the exam when one is writing the exam. And this is I think the most important thing. And another thing that I would like to say is that confidence is the key for this exam, not just at the interview stage, because interview is interview does certainly test one's level of confidence, but what I feel is that confidence is required even at the stage of prelims and also during the mains, because if one sees the question paper and gets nervous and suddenly thinks that I have blanked out, I cannot do this, that kind of a situation does really happen in the exam. One tends to get nervous looking at something which is completely unusual and one thinks that kahan se aa gaya ye sawal. So that kind of a thing, for that it is important that one does not lose confidence, and for that confidence is important, and otherwise also confidence is something that the most precious thing for a person. This exam is not as important as your confidence. Nothing is as important as one's confidence. I know, because after my third attempt I felt that I cannot do this. I lost lot of confidence, and for me I went back to studies and then kind of regained my confidence back, and that kind of helped me. So confidence is something that one does certainly require for this exam. So I think everybody should stay motivated, positive, and always remember the example of the phoenix, which can rise from the ashes anytime, and that is something that should inspire everyone, right? So thank you.